The airport buzzed like a hive that never slept, faces moving in a blur, announcements tumbling through overhead speakers, and the sharp scent of jet fuel clinging to the air. Amid the chaos, one woman stood composed, a vision of elegance in a navy blue pantsuit tailored to perfection. Her name was Nadine Carver, and if the staff at Blue Star Airlines had known who they were dealing with, the morning might have gone very differently. At 38, Nadine was a force of nature. She had clawed her way up from the cracked sidewalks of East Atlanta, where her mother had worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on, to the gleaming corridors of the tech world where she now ruled. As CEO of TerraVolt Technologies, a rising powerhouse in sustainable energy, she was as brilliant as she was relentless. Her company specialized in creating affordable solar solutions for underserved urban neighborhoods, a mission close to her heart. This Friday was supposed to be another milestone. Nadine was flying to Chicago to headline the Women in Tech Summit and later meet with executives from Crestfall Capital, a major investment firm. It was more than just a business trip, it was an opportunity to expand TerraVolt into the Midwest and reunite with an old college friend. She arrived at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport with time to spare, gliding through security with lounge privileges and a confirmed seat in First Class 1A to be exact. Her assistant had handled every detail. Everything was seamless, or so it seemed. Nadine settled into the Blue Star VIP lounge, sipping chamomile tea and reviewing her notes for the speech. She noticed the occasional glance in her direction, but she was used to that. Her face had graced the covers of major magazines. Sometimes people recognized her. Other times they just sensed importance. What she didn't expect was the tension behind the counter. 3 staff members whispered near the check-in desk, 2 women and 1 man, all dressed in crisp uniforms. They kept looking at her. It wasn't admiration. It was something else. Soon, one of them, a woman named Rachel, according to her name tag, approached her. "Ms. Carver," she said, forcing a tight smile. "Would you mind stepping over to the desk? There's a small issue with your seat." Confused but calm, Nadine followed. At the counter, the other 2 employees, Ben and Lindsay, looked everywhere but at her. "We've run into an overbooking issue," Ben explained. "A Diamond Plus member just upgraded to first class and we're required to prioritize their request. Unfortunately, that means we've had to reassign your seat." Nadine blinked. "I am a Diamond Plus member. I've flown with Blue Star for over a decade. I booked the seat weeks ago." Lindsay typed on her keyboard. "We understand, but the policy prioritizes last-minute elite upgrades. We've reassigned you to seat 4B in business class." The words hit her like a slap. "I paid for 1A, she said, voice even but icy. "I have dietary preferences logged for that seat. I have calls scheduled during the flight. You're telling me my loyalty means less than someone else's whim?" "It's not personal," Lindsay replied with a smirk that suggested otherwise. Nadine's jaw tightened. "I'd like to speak to a supervisor." "He's on break," Rachel said too quickly. "Also, boarding begins in 25 minutes. "So I'm being punished for arriving early?" Nadine asked. "I'm not moving until this is resolved." Ben shrugged and printed a new boarding pass anyway. "You can use the lounge until boarding." Nadine took the slip of paper without looking at it. Rage burned behind her eyes, but she kept her cool. There were too many witnesses. Too many cameras. She texted her assistant Monica. "Call Blue Star HQ. This just got ugly." By the time she arrived at the boarding gate, she saw him, the white man who now occupied 1A. Mid-60s, polished, expensive lapel pin glinting under the lights. The Diamond Plus VIP. She recognized him faintly, someone from finance, perhaps. The gate agent offered Nadine a patronizing smile and gestured toward the business class line. At seat 4B, things only got worse. A woman already sat there, sunglasses on, large purse in her lap. "Excuse me," Nadine said. "You're in my seat." The flight attendant, a blonde named Amanda, intervened. "Ma'am," she said to the woman, "your seat is 4A. "I'm more comfortable here," the woman replied. Nadine held out her boarding pass. "This is my assigned seat." The woman scoffed. "Why make a fuss? You can sit next to me if you want." Amanda hesitated. Nadine's eyes narrowed. "I was already moved from first class. You're asking me to move again?" "She's making this about race," the woman snapped. "I won't be bullied." Passengers nearby turned to watch. One man in a suit muttered, "Just move, lady. You're in the wrong seat." Amanda pulled Nadine aside into the galley. "She says she feels unsafe," the flight attendant said in a whisper. "Unsafe?" Nadine said, incredulous. "I asked her to move to her correct seat." Amanda looked desperate. "If this escalates, we'll have to ask you to take another seat in economy." "Economy?" Nadine hissed. "You want to bump me again because she refuses to follow seating rules?" Then Ben reappeared at the galley door. "We need to decide now," he said coldly. "Either she moves, or we remove her from the flight." Nadine froze. She thought about Chicago, the summit, the investors. But something deep in her soul cracked. "Fine," she said, voice like steel. "Escort me off." The plane's interior fell silent as she walked back up the aisle. Some passengers murmured. Others recorded her departure. The woman in 4B looked triumphant. Nadine didn't look back. She stepped off the aircraft and immediately dialed a number from memory. "Margaret," she said when the call connected. "I need your help. I just got removed from a Blue Star flight. This wasn't a mistake. It was discrimination." Margaret Chun was an attorney with the Department of Transportation's Regulatory Division. They'd met at a sustainability conference 2 years prior. "Tell me everything," Margaret said. "If there's a violation, we'll find it." Within an hour, Nadine had sent screenshots of her ticket, her status, her receipts. Monica booked her a last-minute seat on another airline. Meanwhile, passengers who'd witnessed the debacle began emailing her videos and offering statements. "I recorded the exchange," one man texted. "Happy to share if it helps." An elderly couple approached her at the gate, shaken. "We saw it," the woman whispered. "You were treated horribly." That evening, from her new flight, Nadine placed one final call to someone who might actually care. "Darius," she said when the VP of Blue Star Corporate Affairs picked up. "We need to talk." She told him everything. The overbooking lie. The route staff. The forced removal. He was horrified. "I promise you, Nadine," Darius said. "This is not our policy. I'll escalate it immediately." He did. Within hours, internal investigations launched. By the next morning, the CEO of Blue Star, Robert Langston, held an emergency meeting. By that afternoon, 4 employees were suspended. By the end of the week, they were all fired. As for Miss Cunningham, the woman in 4B was banned from flying Blue Star again. Nadine received a formal apology, a massive settlement, lifetime elite status, and more importantly, a promise. The airline pledged funding to support diversity initiatives in aviation. In collaboration with Nadine, they helped launch a scholarship for young women of color pursuing STEM and aerospace careers. Nadine never gloated. She told her story not with venom, but with purpose. "This isn't just about me," she said during an interview months later. "It's about every person who's been told they don't belong. It's about using our voices even when it shakes the room." In time, her story became a case study in corporate trainings and HR seminars. A reminder that discrimination wears many masks, but silence only gives it power. And as for Nadine Carver, she didn't just reclaim her seat. She changed the flight path for everyone who would come after her.